Hey guys, welcome back to another impressions video on one of the latest games I beat, which is Mad Father. I played these on PC via Steam, and this is basically a Japanese horror RPG Maker-esque type of game, and I'm saying that because this was also in fact made with the Wolf RPG Editor game engine. This game was released, I believe, originally in 2012 by Japanese developer Sen. Which is also of Misao fame, which is another horror indie Japanese game that is very popular, and I'll be making an impressions video on that as well. And that's a hint that I really enjoyed. Mad Father, obviously, for me to go back and play the other game developed by Sen. Again, the version I played is the Steam version, and the Steam version of the game is a re-release that happened in 2016, which features new graphics and perhaps gameplay improvements. I haven't really played the original one from 2012 to do a proper comparison on what the differences are, but the 2016 version on Steam is the one that I played. My goal was to publish this video actually on October 31st to, I guess, celebrate Halloween like many people here on YouTube do in their channels. And since I beat the game just a few days before that Halloween date, I was thinking of doing that, but I decided to wait until now, basically, to publish the video because the developer released a free upgrade to the people that own the game on Steam, featuring even better graphics, I guess, if you want to call it the 2020 remake of the game. So I wanted to wait a little bit, and in order to capture some gameplay footage of this new version. I have not completed the latest version, but I did play, like I said, just a little bit to capture new footage, and you guys can see the differences in the graphical style. So for the rest of the video, I will be focusing on discussing the 2016 version of the game, but do note that the 2020 updated version, as we speak here in this video, has some bugs and issues that need to be sorted out with the save file folder. So just make sure you do a little bit of research. It's unfortunate that they released the game with bugs that need fixes. But other than that, let's just dive right into the story. Mad Father stars Aya Drevis. She's an 11-year-old girl that lives with her father, Alfred Drevis, who he is a scientist that runs pretty weird experiments in his underground lab with his assistant slash maid called Maria. You soon learn that Aya's mom passed away some years ago, perhaps a year ago. That's what the game mentions, I believe, from apparently some sort of illness. And then Aya comes to learn that not only her father runs weird experiments in his lab, as evidenced by the human and animal screams and noises that she can hear through the doors of the lab, but also learns that her father had an affair with his younger, assistant, a lab assistant called Maria. And so the game starts at the anniversary of Aya's mom's death. Her name was Monica, and Aya soon learns there is a curse within the Drevis residence, and that her father experiments and creations have come to life and are roaming basically free through the rooms and halls of the Drevis residence. So I guess despite the less than ideal father figure that Alfred came to be and has portrayed to be to Aya, she still loves him and is set to reunite with him after she hears screams and pleas for help from her father. So that's basically the story in a nutshell, and I have to say that for being a low budget RPG maker type of game, I have to say that the story is pretty solid, and it only gets better as you play through the game. The game features different endings, and while the true ending wasn't really of my liking, I think the game does a great job of keeping the player interested in finding out more about Aya and the other characters as well, and also finding out as far as what the curse plaguing the residents really is. Now, in terms of graphics, This is an indie game in the Wolf RPG Editor game engine, so I guess I knew exactly what to expect. The 2016 version of the game definitely presents more detail than the original 2012 release, and unsurprisingly, the 2020 upgraded version features, perhaps the best graphics, although the art direction of the characters is a little bit different. And I already saw some people in the Steam discussion section of the game, disliking the new art style a little bit. I guess it's a matter of preference, but the cool thing is if you buy the 2020 version, you can also play the 2016, the original Steam version, if you will. So there's that option of giving you a preference on how to play the game. Now, I really enjoyed the characters' graphics and expressions. I guess when there's some text dialogue, you get to see the character, the character faces and expressions. So props to the developer for that. The atmosphere of the Drevis residence is well done, with creepy decorated rooms and halls that can feature, some gory features like blood stains on the wall and on the floors and things like that. Certain, elements that add to the horror aspect of the game in a very creepy and good way at the same time. Now, the main protagonist, Aya, she's, in my opinion, pretty well designed. And so are the game enemies and creatures that are, they're also all pretty well drafted and pretty creepy, again adding to that atmosphere of the game. Now, the soundtrack, there is no voice acting in the game, but I really enjoyed some of the grunts, I guess, or minor, not voice acting, but some of the characters, they do say like very short phrases sometimes in the game. So I feel like they added just a tad of personality to these characters that you meet and play as in the game. The soundtrack is actually very good, and I found myself downloading it after I completed the game. There are some piano pieces that are very enjoyable and fitting to the game itself. Now, as far as the gameplay, the beauty of these like RPG Maker-esque type of indie, I guess, games is that they're very simple to control. It's just basic movement and basic action of inspecting items in your surroundings. The game basically features a top-down view similar to Zelda: A Link to the Past, if I had to make a comparison to a well-known game. The actions in the game are very basic, as I mentioned. You can't really attack, so you either have to rely on either escaping from enemies, or sometimes you have to find cover or find a hideout when threat is present. The game also features some stealth sections, and of course, a big portion of the game is also in regards to puzzle solving and exploration. Using the correct item in a certain area of the game and so forth. You manage your items through like an inventory screen, which is pretty straightforward. The 2020 version has like a better help. The mission or the goal or your next objective is indicated in the game itself, so that's pretty helpful. But the 2016 version is even though it doesn't have that hint system, it's still, the game is still fairly simple for you to figure it out on your own. Puzzles are on the simplistic side of things, but that's not a bad thing necessarily. I feel like the game takes place in a residence that has the right amount of rooms and variety to keep things fresh. The horror element in this game is interesting. It relies on the grotesque nature of Alfred's creations and the blood and gore from some of the scenes that are either found through things happening, or blood stains on the wall and ceilings and all that. So that was pretty cool. I didn't find the game necessarily scary, but it rather works well in building tension in certain portions of the game that I thought were very effective and fun to experience. The game features an additional quote-unquote if section at the end with extra content and endings to further expand the lore of the game. This was greatly appreciated since I ended up yearning for more after I completed the game, and I ended up unlocking and watching all the endings. It took me about, I want to say, 4 hours to beat the normal game. And then, of course, I kept playing it to get the other endings and the if section. But I think overall, it'll probably take you around 6 hours, if you want to do the unlock all the endings and different options. I really enjoyed the length and time I had with this game. I wish the developer would release some sort of sequel or prequel to this. The other game from this Japanese developer called Misao features some loose connections to Mad Father, but I will talk about that when I make my impressions video on Misao, hopefully soon. Overall, I highly recommend this game. There's a reason why this is one of the most popular, indie Japanese horror games out there. And it definitely spiked my interest to try other similar games that hopefully I will be covering in the future of the channel. I definitely say try it. The price of admission is very low, especially if the game is on sale. It typically is under $5. So even though the game is short, I think it's definitely worth of playing it and experience it. So that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all later.